Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to have everyone here. I see you jumping in. I'm Dr. Katie Woodley. We're going to give people a few minutes, but I would love to hear from you while we're giving everyone a minute. Where are you joining us live from? So comment in that chat box where you're coming from. I'd love to hear what part of the world you are joining us on this beautiful Thursday evening here in Colorado, and see where everyone is coming from. So I see you. All right, let's see. Don't be shy. I'd love to. So post in that chat box you'll see down below. So the oh, Dr. Katie, chat is disabled. Paola, thank you. Okay, I was like, where is everyone? So post in the Q&A and I'll go back through that. Because the chat, I'm not sure if I'm able to enable it. So I can still read the Q&As. So post it there. And when we get to the end, as questions pop up, we'll go through that. So Kylie, I see you, West Virginia. Shashi from Toronto, Canada. Paola, Wales, UK. Midnight here. You're amazing. Oh my goodness. Deanna, Windsor, Colorado. You're just down the road from me. And then we've got Ireland, Dublin, New Jersey, Christine, Orlog, Phoenix, Alberta, Catherine from Virginia, Ginny from Virginia, Michelle, hey Michelle, St. Louis, Melissa, California, Tony, hey Tony, Montgomery, Alabama. So we have people joining from all over the world tonight. I'm so excited to share some information, give you some tools, give you some further support in this crazy topic of gut health that seems so complicated, so confusing. So many pets are having issues with gut health. And I hope to demystify some of that tonight. So that way you can feel stronger, more empowered, and actually get your pets the results that you're looking for to help them feel their best, live their best lives, live long, healthy, reduce vet bills. Does everyone else, let's see, I can see you, but don't see other members. Orlog, this is a presentation, so you can't see anyone else. I want to make sure, can everyone see my screen tonight with my webinar, just to make sure that everything is sharing properly? If you can let me know if you can see the slide, the 3 secret strategies for fixing your pet's gut health issues is what you should see in front of you, just to make sure I'm not just talking to you and you can't see the slides as we start the presentation. So if you can, yes, 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 we hear you and see the screen well. Perfect. All right, just wanted to make sure because there's some valuable information. If you do not have pen and paper or something to take notes on, I want you to grab that now, because you're going to want to take notes during this presentation. There will be a replay that will be sent to you. So don't worry if there's a lot of information here, you'll be able to go back through it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me close down the Q&A box. We will go back through that. I will keep an eye on this, but let's get started because I know your time is so valuable. And you are all so amazing for taking time out of your evening, your night, the middle of the night, maybe waiting to go to bed, getting up early so that you can hear this. I value your time. I value you being here. I value you being an amazing pet parent. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the 3 secret strategies for fixing your pet's gut health issues. What we're going to do is we're going to start at a higher level. This is going to seem a little bit different, but I want you to understand and see the bigger picture of what's going on. So when we think about the ecosystem, I want you to think about how small we truly are. We think about the Earth within this entire Milky Way, right? There's a lot going on here, a lot of things that can influence the Earth, the sun, solar flares, so many different aspects, right? And then when we take it further down, what we see is we've got this beautiful field full of different, vibrant, living beings. They're all communicating with one another, that are constantly being affected by the elements of rain. What's the soil quality? What's the warmth? What's the temperature? And then we take it down even further. And now we're getting into the neighborhoods. And there's all these different factors that could be affecting you, your pets, from the things your neighbors are putting on their lawns, to chemicals in the road, to the things that are used on trees, to the noise, to what your neighbors, once again, are doing out in their backyards. So many different factors. And then we go in the home. And we have the dynamics between family members. Maybe you're living with flatmates. Your pets are picking up all these different factors. Think about the foods that get dropped on the floor, right? Maybe if you have young kids, what foods are you eating? Once again, these are all going to play a part into what's going on with your pets. And then we have animals that are a part of this ecosystem. So maybe there's a dog or there's a cat, or maybe we have both dogs and cats. These are all going to affect this interconnected ecosystem. And we can go even deeper. And this is where we're going to be tonight for a little bit, keeping in mind the bigger ecosystem. So we have the microbiome, what's going on inside the gut. There's different ecosystems within different organ systems that are all interconnected, leading us to the interconnection between the gut and the brain, which are impacting behaviors and health. So this higher level view of all the things that can impact gut health are so important. And we have to shift the belief that a supplement here and there will fix the problem. If we actually have a systemic problem somewhere else in this entire huge ecosystem that we just briefly went through. So my hope for you today during this webinar is that you keep an open mind, even if you feel like you've tried everything, to learn more about how you can identify where imbalances may be present to help you finally fix your pet's gut health and their other concerns potentially for good. And I wanted to start with a story with one of my patients that I'm currently seeing today and have been seeing for the past year to give you a real life example of the importance of these ecosystems and how easy it is to miss something that could be impeding your pet from healing. And with this is beautiful, handsome Roper. So Roper's a 10-year-old Australian Shepherd. And they reached out to me because Roper had severe back pain, severe anxiety, behavioral issues. His mom's an amazing trainer and was having trouble getting him to do the things that she needed him to do. He was on a raw food diet already. They don't use chemicals on their property. He was on quite a few different supplements, but he was also on a couple different pain medications because his pain was so strong. He was also receiving chiropractic care every other week for a year before they saw me, and his treatments weren't holding. When we started diving deeper into the different areas that can go wrong in the body, rather than just trying different supplements and, having that entire, I call it a supplement graveyard, we found that Roper had really, really high heavy metals in his system because of the farming that goes on around them. This was impacting his brain health, which was impairing the training, which was inhibiting the healing that could occur. We also identified dysbiosis in his gut. And as we started to adjust these and use the supplements that his body truly needed, support the detox pathways, today Roper's on 0 pain medications, responding beautifully to his behavior training, and feels so much better, and is actually holding his chiropractic and his acupuncture treatments. So Roper shows us how all these things we've discussed can play a part in your pet not improving, but when you identify them, it opens up a whole new world. So this is the new strategy: finding the root imbalance, addressing those connecting issues, those connecting areas that are causing the true issue, the true root imbalance. And sometimes there can be multiple issues that are going on. So this is a value-packed webinar. I want you to turn off any cell phones, just get rid of all those distractions that are around you and just tune in, because this information can be life-changing, not only for your pets, but also for your own health. And we're going to walk you through how to find those root imbalances so you can heal your pets and regain or optimize ideal health if they currently don't have any health conditions. And I know you might be thinking, like, I've already done everything and nothing works. You may be even asking yourself, what am I going to learn here? You've probably gone down that rabbit hole and it seems like there's no answer that works for your pet. Is anyone here that feels that way? Just drop a, oh my goodness, or a, I see you, raising hands. Raising hands is great. This tells me you've been there. And that's probably why you're here. You don't know what to do next. You're frustrated. And I get it. I've been there myself too. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning and you already have heard my story, you know about my amazing husband, Ryan. He developed an autoimmune disorder at the start of 2014, and it was a struggle to find what was causing his system to get so angry. And here's the thing. I've also worked with many pet parents throughout those years that are struggling with trying to figure out how to fix their pets too, who thought the same. There's no way out. But the problem is it caused them to stop due to overwhelm and lack of results, leaving their pets in a state of poor health. So who here is also like, I don't know what to do. There's so much information. I just stopped because I didn't want to cause any harm. I see you guys. So what happens if we do nothing though? Does the problem just go away if we stop taking action? Well, I can tell you, unfortunately, the problem usually doesn't just go away, but pets can actually get more sick because that root imbalance continues and it gets worse and it affects other systems. And we start seeing symptoms that don't even seem related, right? And you may have seen this yourself, causing you to feel more upset and overwhelmed, and maybe even feel guilty that you couldn't help your pets more. It's how I felt at the beginning of my husband's health journey. So I want to ask you, are you stuck in a hope strategy? And what I mean by this is like, I hope this works. I'm going to try this supplement. I'm going to try this food. I hope it works because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't. And then we get the next thing we read about and we hope that it works. Hope strategy is not a fun place to be in. And I'm going to help you shift out of a hope strategy and regain a better framework that's going to help you feel much more empowered and positive by the end of this session. So most pet parents, they're stuck in this vicious cycle, same health problems, gut health issues, GI upset, allergies, giving a drug, expecting the problem to be fixed, but their pets might only feel better for days or maybe months. So even like 6 months down the road, bam, all of a sudden the problem's back. So those same issues keep popping up. Now, once again, many pet parents are trying supplement after supplement to try to fix the problem, hoping that next one works. But here's the thing. It's like trying to fill a bucket that's full of holes with water. We have to fix those holes first. So I want you to think about it. When you have a bucket full of holes, what do you think is going to happen? Feel free to answer if you like, because this is a common issue with human healthcare and pet healthcare. So I want you to be like holistic pet parents, right? That's why you're here. Gain the integrative, holistic side of health, how everything is connected. And only when we approach the body from a holistic, I probably should have put a W here, whole body approach, not disregarding conventional medicine, but looking at how everything's interconnected, you can feel confident that the root cause is being addressed to address the real reason for the problem. You can help your pets achieve optimal health, and you'll have the tools to balance and maintain a healthy state without relying on that hope strategy. Let me ask you, which path do you prefer to take? Hope strategy or looking at your body, your pet's body, your ecosystem as a whole? So you're in the right place if you're ready for a change in your pet's care. You know there's a better way to achieve optimal health, but you're overwhelmed by where to start. You might feel frustrated and tired of all the vet visits and those expensive vet bills that don't give you progress. And you want to know that you're doing everything possible to help your pet live a long and vibrant life. You want that supportive community to help guide you on the right path, right? Who's been in a community where you ask a question and it's the wrong one and you don't want to ask another question, right? I think all of us have been there. And you're curious about different ways to achieve health in your fur family. Now, in terms of the masterclass today, if this is you, this might be a little bit uncomfortable. I still encourage you to stay, But if you want quick fixes and don't care about finding the root cause, this will be very uncomfortable. If you don't have time to take action, you won't get the results. If you think you already know everything about pet medicine, this probably won't help. If you only believe there's one way to look at health, this probably won't help. And if you get mad, I'm going to give you probably more than 45 minutes of strategy and why these things are so important. That's helped hundreds of pet parents before you, and then complain when I give you an offer to help provide more guidance and support for you, then maybe you want to save some time. So I want to be upfront so I don't waste anyone's time here. However, I want you, if you stay, keep an open mind. This is where your belief system is so powerful. And if we can shift that belief system, that's where the magic happens. So first, stay until the end. We're going to have a Q&A. So once again, write down those questions. At the end, I'll also have you put your questions in the chat, or not the chat, the Q&A box. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my journey, because I've been on the same journey as so many of you here today. But if you're ready, I want to see those hands up, put them up. Who's as excited as I am to be here and ready to get going? All right, love you guys. You're amazing. I love it. All right, I'm seeing you. You're amazing. All right, let's get going. So for all of you who don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Katie Woodley. I started my veterinary career as a young, naive veterinarian in New Zealand. I thought using those big brand kibble foods was the best that I could do for my pets. Made sure I did all those vaccines and dewormers that I learned about in veterinary school. And I thought I was doing everything right until I mentioned my husband developed an autoimmune disease. And it changed the course and trajectory of how I looked at medicine, and also to how I approached vet medicine. I'll never forget sitting across from the doctor, hearing that day those words, "There's nothing more you can do," and not being able to do what we always used to do, spending time in the hospital and never getting a clear path forward. But this is where I learned about this entirely different world of medicine, really, that focused on those root causes versus symptomatic. And I realized very quickly that I could be doing so much better for my pets. So this is where I became acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine certified, now food therapy certified, and quickly came up against other vets in my practice not liking the type of medicine I use, because they didn't understand holistic medicine. Very foreign, very uncomfortable. And you may be experiencing that right now too with your own vets. Anyone here experiencing that currently? Hearing what you're doing is not right, it may cause harm, or it won't make a difference. You're wasting your time and your money on these things. But we were also tested again. And this is when my soul pup, Finn, he started having seizures, and we diagnosed a brain tumor. Finn was changed to a home-cooked diet years even before this happened. We put him on herbs to help him. We even avoided 2 knee surgeries and a 75-pound German Shepherd. That is the power of a holistic approach. Here's the thing. When you get that type of diagnosis and they're having seizures, you need to reduce brain swelling. And this is where we jump to adding in, alongside his herbal, conventional medicines. He did not do well. And we were told by the specialists that there was nothing else we could do on the conventional side. He probably had a week left, and to take him home, love on him, and bring him back. Here's the thing though, there was something else we could do for him. We could use holistic medicine. And because I had shifted my belief system years prior, I didn't have to sit there and lose hope, because I knew I could help him more. And we were able to give him another year of amazing quality of life when there was nothing left on the conventional side. And he helped me realize even more so that pet parents are being told every day there's nothing else you can do, or that phrase, I hate it so much, just wait and see, when there's an entire world of medicine we can tap into to fix the actual problem. And here's the best part. We can help more pet parents by helping teach you online how I help Finn, how I've helped my other patients, especially when we're given those diagnoses, there's nothing more you can do. I don't want you to wait for that point. My husband's life changed because we changed the approach. And there's a framework we're going to go through for healing gut health concerns and breaks it down into easy to implement steps. So rather than staying stuck, by following the framework we're going to talk about, you can also achieve success like my own fur family, my own human family, and all of the patients that I've helped throughout the years. So are you ready to learn more? Ready to learn more and keep an open mind. That's really important. All right, I see you guys. You're awesome. Give me a ready, not in the chat, but in the Q&A or just a hands up. I love it. It's like so amazing seeing you raise your hands. When you know how to use these 3 secrets, optimal pet health is at your fingertips. So I want you to imagine where your pet's health could be in 1 year and consider this the fast pass. But first, this is really important because right now you may have a sick pet. You may be frustrated with where you're at. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to write down the feelings and the emotions you feel when you think about your pets feeling their best, achieving optimal health, not going in and out of the vet clinic, all the experiences and memories you can have. I want you to write it down. Just take a second because I want you to take that feeling and integrate it into your soul. Because holistic medicine takes longer. That's the downside. It takes longer to heal the body than to use a conventional approach and give a drug to cover up a symptom, which doesn't heal the body. That's why so many people don't use it or get frustrated. But when you tap into the feelings and emotions of like, nope, we got this. This is our end goal. We will get there. This will help you push through those ups and downs that will come throughout your journey. All right, let's get into it. Kept it simple, all right? So this looks super simple. Remember, open minds, I promise. There's a lot here, okay? So there are 3 key areas to achieving optimal gut health. Seems pretty simple, it can be, but it can also feel very overwhelming if you're not sure where to turn, what to do, especially if you feel like you've tried everything. And these might be new concepts. These are very basic. Yes, I know. So we're going to go through and break these down and then go through the framework that you can start implementing and looking at. Remember that vision, that foundation is so important to figuring out where things are off in your pet. So secret 1, nutrition. You're like, oh, I already know this. Keep an open mind. So this is where function, the microbiome, is there dysbiosis, leaky gut? We'll talk about some of those functional foods that are so important to feeding the microbiome, but also feeding optimal health. And so why is nutrition a secret? You may be thinking, why is this a secret, right? Like, yes, we know food is medicine, great. However, we've been brainwashed into thinking that real food is dangerous and that it must come out of the bag, right? Especially veterinarians. And this may be something that you come up against when you go to the vet, or maybe you're new to this area and you're like, I don't know yet. I'm really unsure. So what do Cheerios have to do with pet nutrition? Seems very abstract, right? So I want you to picture about, even if you don't have a human child, think about having a little human baby. You are walking into the pediatrician office, you're sitting down, you're like, doc, what do I feed my baby for optimal health throughout their life? And the doctor takes a bag of Cheerios and puts it down on the desk in front of them and says, this is fortified with all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients you need for your baby to grow strong throughout its life. You can feed this for every single meal throughout life. Who here would look at them like they were absolutely crazy? Hands up. Anyone? Okay, we're getting a majority. Okay, that's good. But however, when we extrapolate this over to the veterinary field, this is exactly what is being taught and what a lot of pet parents don't realize is inhibiting or creating a lot of the health issues that we're seeing in our pets today. And veterinarians are the only medical profession that recommends a dry processed kibble diet for the life of the pet. Now, this is why this is so important. And this microbiome. The microbiome is this trillions of different microorganisms living in the digestive tract. So you can see here in this picture, we actually have different layers of the microbiome, where we have the microbial barrier, we have the chemical barrier, the physical barrier, and the immunological barrier. So this is where we have those trillions of different microorganisms. Those are sitting there digesting the food that's coming in. We have a chemical barrier like the mucin layer that is also protecting that physical barrier, which is one cell thick of the gut lining, keeping that food, that foreign substance, those toxins, those chemicals that shouldn't be crossing into the bloodstream out on the outside, one cell thick with a little bit of mucus there, right? Very powerful that it's working, that it should be working well. And then we have the immune system on the other side that's responding when appropriate. Now, the microbiome is very similar between cats and dogs, but as we're finding more and more studies that are coming out in research, which is great, they can differ in abundance of specific phyla, the diversity. So there are some differences between dogs and cats, and it can also vary between breed, diet, age, environment. And there's studies that actually show that food significantly changes the types of bacteria that are present. Now, the functions of this really important microbiome is that they're going to break down the food. So that way the body can absorb those vitamins and minerals, those nutrients, and break them down into particles that can be absorbed and used. It also produces short chain fatty acids, which are going to be the energy source for the epithelial cells to keep things functioning appropriately. It also produces the secondary bile acids. Those are very important for breaking down fats and act as detergents. We also have the vitamins, the nutrients. It also produces hormones, things like vitamin D, which is actually a hormone, and also neurotransmitters, which we'll be talking more about. And it matures and develops the immune system. If your pet started life with a poor quality microbiome, the immune system can also be not working very well. And so when we start looking at the microbiome and what it does and using the right testing, this is the cause of a lot of the health issues we see in today's pets. Now, there's this amazing thing called postbiotics. So we just talked about the things that are being made. So these are postbiotics. You'll hear of things called pre and probiotics. So pre are the foods that feed the good bacteria, or like the probiotics. And then the things that are made by the microbes are the postbiotics. So these are things like the beneficial chemical compounds. And that's short chain fatty acids, your vitamin A's, all your vitamin minerals, your hormones, secondary bile acids, your taurine. And these promote good health in so many ways, as you can see, including boosting the immune system, improving the function of the gut lining, remember, one cell thick, promoting diversity amongst those different strains, reducing inflammation, maintaining healthy skin, lowering blood sugar. And without these, what do we have? We have poor quality health. So what are some of the things that can affect the microbiome? And this is where nutrition is huge. We always talk about food is medicine. It is not the only thing. This is why a lot of pets who have allergies, they're switched to a raw food diet and it doesn't change because there's other factors that are contributing. And it may actually be the microbiome, the immune system's off, it could be toxins. But keep in mind, we can still feed a less processed diet and it will make a difference. Some of the other things that can throw off the balance of the gut, the bacteria in the gut, are going to include giving antibiotics, giving non-steroidal pain medications, laxatives, proton pump inhibitors. So if you have a pet that has, like, they vomit bile, one of the first things vets recommend is to give something like an acid reducer or a proton pump inhibitor. And this can actually directly affect the microbiome. And there's longer term studies done on the human side that show we can actually create vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So this is where you can feed a balanced diet. And because we're giving something else, like a proton pump inhibitor, it creates a nutritional deficiency in your pet. Wow, right? So all of a sudden your pet's low in B12, vitamin C, calcium, iron, magnesium. These are so essential for, magnesium alone is a coenzyme or a cofactor in so many enzymatic reactions, like over 3,000 enzymatic reactions in the body. If now all of a sudden we have a magnesium deficiency, that can show up as a gut health issue, anxiety, and now all of a sudden we're potentially treating the wrong thing by giving an antidepressant. So I hope you can see how all of this starts coming together. And you might be asking, well, okay, so I give one drug. Well, no big deal, right? We fix it. Well, how long do these effects last? So now we have studies that show, especially with metronidazole, Flagyl, one of the most common medications used for diarrhea, giardia. You go in with gastroenteritis, colitis, you come out with metronidazole. And these dysbiosis, so changing the good versus bad bacteria, these disruptions in the microbiome actually happen for at least 4 weeks. We say at least because that's when the study ended. In humans, alterations in that gut microbiome have lasted 4 years after giving short-term antibiotics. That's insane. So we don't want to minimize the risk that we could potentially be causing by giving antibiotics. Now, here's my disclaimer. I am not against conventional meds. I am not against, giving drugs when needed, but by using an antibiotic or using a drug just because, that is not the solution to the problem. And it is creating long-term health problems for our pets. And these are just 2 studies of numerous studies that showcase this. The other thing is that as we shift and as pet parents learn about real fresh food and how it can support the microbiome, reduce inflammation, and help optimal health, we find that a lot of these diets are leading to nutritional imbalances. So homemade diets, some of your raw food diets, your 80-10-10 blends and ratios where there's nothing else added in, can lead long-term to some omega-3 fatty acid imbalances, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin E, manganese, iodine, iron, and taurine. And you may be asking, well, how do I know? Don't worry, we're going to cover that because it's important to know rather than just guess and we end up with a vitamin D overdose because it's fat soluble. So there's ways that we can address this by looking at diets and assessing the foods that we're feeding, but also through some personalized testing that you can do from the comfort of your own home. So how do you know if your pet's experiencing a gut health issue? And usually if your pet has some of these symptoms, there's some component of dysbiosis present where there's an imbalance between the microbes in the gut favoring the bad ones. So weight loss, a dull hair coat, autoimmune diseases, allergies, a sensitive GI tract. So this could show up as like acid reflux, diarrhea, vomiting. I apologize for anyone eating during this. That was a very vivid video I put on. I wanted to make sure you're awake. So excessive hairballs, dental disease, bad breath, even with clean teeth. That can be a sign of an unhealthy gut. Something's going on. Inflammation, ear infections, anxiety, thyroid issues. Wow, right? These don't seem related to gut health, but they all have a connection because the microbes are connected to the immune system, which is connected to the rest of the body, which is producing hormones, which is affecting the endocrine system, which is affecting the nervous system. So you can see quickly how everything is connected. And so what happens when we have an imbalance of good versus bad bacteria? We have that dysbiosis. So everything's out of balance. That environment of the GI tract actually becomes unstable. That can alter the process of digestion, and that intestinal mucosa, so that lining, becomes inflamed. And then what happens is that it can start to leak these larger, partially digested substances from food particles into the bloodstream. So think about the gut lining. We have these tight junctions. There should be nothing passing through. We start getting inflammation and they start separating and we get these gaps. So you can see that in this picture here, normal tight junction, leaky, inflamed. Now things are passing through, which they shouldn't. And these larger complex substances that are leaking through are antigenic. They're foreign to the body. They're allergenic. So now they're overstimulating the immune system, and the body's now producing antibodies against them. So this is where, like, especially pets with food sensitivities, where now your pet can't eat chicken because of that leaky gut condition, the immune system mounted an immune response. And then we see all sorts of things like GI upset. We can see allergies because of the gut skin axis and that inflammation now in the rest of the body that's manifesting as a skin irritation and allergy. And this is Leo. He's one of my other patients. He came to me with chronic GI upset. He was put on a prescription diet as a puppy, but he was still having episodes of bloody diarrhea. So I hope you can start seeing, like, okay, prescription dry food diet. Why would that potentially fix him? And also, was that the root imbalance? Was this bland diet? Did he truly have a food sensitivity? So what we did is we did some further testing with him. And we're going to talk more about these hair tissue mineral analysis tests. And with this test, what it does is we can actually look at the vitamin mineral imbalances and assess where are things off. Where's the root imbalance? What is the cause? You can see here under toxic metals, we're looking at heavy metals in the body that could actually be causing a microbiome issue, that could be putting extra pressure on the detox pathways, that could be crossing the blood-brain barrier and then causing kind of neurological or anxiety issues. And Leo came back with a lot of inflammation in his body. His sodium levels, which is not salt, is directly related to how much the adrenal glands, which produce cortisol, that stress hormone, are working. Are they stressed out? Are they fatigued? And for Leo, they were really stressed. So when we see a really high level, that's a sign that aldosterone is being produced, which is a hormone from adrenal glands. And then also too, he was really, really anxious. He was like super hyper reactive and charged. His calcium and magnesium, which are the tranquilizing minerals, are really low. So we can take a look at the ratios and we can actually see, how's the endocrine system? What's his thyroid function like? What's the adrenal glands doing? And then what we can do is we can create a plan from that. So we adjusted his diet to a fresh homemade diet. We reduced the toxins. So we went through that environment, that ecosystem, and said, okay, that's potentially a chemical that's creating these issues. Where's the aluminum coming from? And then we supported his gut health with probiotics, digestive enzymes, because he wasn't breaking down his food, soothing nutraceuticals like licorice to help bring those adrenal glands, calm them down, and L-glutamine, which is the food source for the enterocytes or the gut cells, and slippery elm to help soothe and heal and reduce inflammation. And then we also used anti-inflammatory supplements like omega-3s. Very basic. But now looking at him, going through his history and asking more questions, we're able to see where are those imbalances. So rather than guessing, we now know what we need to do. So keep in mind, food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. All right, secret 2. This is the environment. This is the well, no, it's not. The next one is the number one missed thing. Well, actually, there's some in here, but this is commonly missed. And this is where we have toxins, pathogens, emotional health. That's the number one thing that's commonly missed. But let's dive a bit deeper into, why is this area so important? This is my Finn. He was my wake-up call to how important environmental health is. What are my stress levels? What's going on externally? We moved to an area where the city heavily sprays with glyphosates. Our neighbors spray their lawns with herbicides, pesticides, an invisible poison, right? We couldn't see it. I didn't know any better. There's ways to reduce those, even if you live in a toxic area like I do. Unfortunately, Finn developed a brain tumor. I can't say for sure that it was due to those toxins, but I have my feelings that it probably was related. So this is why this is so important, because I would love for this boy to still be with us. He'd be about 15, 16 years old now. But our animals, they can live to 20 years old, 20, 25. When we optimize all these areas and we know where to look and what to address. And keep in mind, we live in a toxic world. This is not meant to be depressing. There's so much we can do to help our pets, to help ourselves, but we're being exposed to roughly 85,000 toxins a year. And the thing is that most of these are invisible, and these are impairing your pet's gut health. It's increasing inflammation in the body. So things like glyphosate, which actually targets the shikimate pathway in the gut. So these are your gut microbes. So this is where, so your gut microbes, the problem is that, sorry, I meant in plants. That's what that's supposed to say. So targets the shikimate pathway in plants. So supposedly it wasn't supposed to affect us or our pets, and it's supposed to be really safe. However, our gut microbes actually possess the shikimate pathway, and it's important for their life. So this glyphosate Roundup, which is in 90% of rainwater, widespread throughout all environments all over the world, are now killing the gut microbes and creating that dysbiosis, which leads to leaky gut, which leads to an overactive immune system and is affecting the rest of the body. Processed pet food is high in glyphosate. Flea and tick preventatives are toxins. Vaccines, heavy metals, stress, mold, formaldehyde gassing off of furniture, curtains, all those things that we don't think about. Blood sugar, high blood sugar creates advanced glycation end products, which affects like free radicals and oxidative stress in the body. So the normal metabolic processes that your pet's body and your body are going through naturally every single day, there's free radicals, there's oxidative stress that's being produced. And if we're not providing our pets with optimal nutrition and we have deficiencies, or we have all these chemicals and toxins clogging up the detox pathways, guess what happens? We don't clear it, and our pets get more inflamed. So this is why your pet's environment is so important. On the right side, that bar chart, you'll see the effective glyphosate level measured in urine. This was a study done by Health Research Institute recently that showcased animals being fed processed food diets, specifically kibble, had significantly higher levels of glyphosate in their urine. Dogs were 15 times more than humans. Cats were eight times more. Horses, 14 times. That's crazy. You know what cancer I see a ton of in pets? Bladder cancer. I wonder why. We also looked at the detection of herbicides in the urine of pet dogs following home lawn chemical application. Once again, herbicides, so your glyphosate, there's plenty of other herbicides and pesticides. We found a higher bladder cancer risk in dogs. And so if you live near a golf course, this information is so important for anyone. We've had this problem locally in this area. The other thing too is that flea and tick products, when we assess the benefits to risks, that should happen with every single thing that's going into your pet, especially when we use conventional medicine. There's actually an FDA alert, it's been out since like 2018, that a lot of these newer flea and tick products are really toxic to our pets. Those isosazolazine, so things like Bravecto, Credelio, they are creating neurological problems, seizures, behavior changes. I have seen this personally with too many pets. I will not ever recommend these products ever again. And so this is why we have to continue to stay up to date on the research and follow and learn things, but also reduce using these and ask questions from your veterinarian. You know, ask to see the safety insert so that you can see what did they say that they didn't tell the vet about. I can tell you right away, Bravecto came out when I was still in a clinical practice before switching to fully holistic. They never told us these problems. It was in there, but oh, it's safe. You can give this. So keep that in mind. This is very important, especially when we are looking at healing gut health and getting rid of these chronic health issues. Now, the oxidative stress detox pathways. So the gut's a major detox pathway. It's not just the liver. So kidneys, gut, skin, liver, those are all very, very important. The lungs are also very important. So if the gut's not functioning well, detoxification is not going to work well either. Then if there's nutritional deficiencies or they're unable to absorb nutrients, detox is not going to work either. I want you to think about like a sewer backing up. That's the video, right? What do you need to do when it's backed up? You got to like unplug it and put some like energy into it. The other thing too, you already saw this. Remember when I mentioned many foods are deficient in these ingredients, or if the microbiome is not functioning well and they're not able to break down the food because we have a lack of digestive enzymes, we don't have enough stomach acid, this is where we have nutritional deficiencies. So many of these vitamins and minerals are found in the detox pathways. I want you to take a look at, so we get the fat soluble toxins, and it has to go through these different steps to be eliminated from the body. Those required nutrients, if they're deficient, the body's not going to be able to go through those different phases. B vitamins, taurine, glutathione, those are all really important. But the good thing is that we can use whole foods to help replace those and get things working better. And one of the commonly missed secrets is emotional health. You might be going, yeah, I'm fine, right? I'm fine, it'll be fine. But here's the thing, your emotional health and your family dynamic, your pets are seeing it. I want you to think about this interconnectedness. This is why so many pets have the same health condition as the pet parent. Who here has a pet that has the same health problem that you do? It's really, really common. I see a lot of people raising their hands because it's really common. I'm not surprised by that. And this goes back to that bigger picture we went through. All those different slides showing you those different levels of the ecosystem and that interconnectedness and how it all plays a part. And emotional health is a huge part of this. And a big part of this alongside gut health is that remember that microbiome is making neurotransmitters. Serotonin, 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. Who here has heard of serotonin? It's talked a lot about for, calming, sleep. These neurotransmitters are affecting the mood, the sleep, the behaviors of us and our pets. And we can use dietary changes to affect behavior because we're feeding the microbiome that can then help produce the right neurotransmitters. And these same neurotransmitters are produced by the gut. They're used by the brain also for cognition. We have this brain-gut axis, this connection via the vagus nerve, direct connection. And so when we think about this and you look at these different types of bacteria and the different types of chemicals that they're making, these are going to impact how the brain functions. What do we see as brain function? We can see anxiety, we can see behavior problems. These are the things that I saw with Roper that I talked about at the beginning. He had dysbiosis in his gut, he had heavy metals. It was affecting the chemicals that were being made that were then affecting his brain health. And so with that brain gut axis and mental health, if you have a pet that has behavior problems, maybe like compulsive disorders, maybe you're seeing some aggression, anxiety, a lot of phobias, hyperreactivity, cognition issues, seizures, we do have to look at the gut health. And the final secret is testing. This is one that is commonly missed by a lot of veterinarians. And you're going to see some of these different tests that you may have never heard about. And this is all about getting to the root imbalance. It's great if we do a CBC biochemistry, but what happens if it comes back normal, right? You're left guessing. You're like, something's wrong. My pet's not acting right. They have allergies. They've got IBD. So what is irritating the skin? What is irritating the immune system? And this is where we can personalize and optimize testing to figure out what exactly is happening. And this is how you get out of the hope strategy, right? I hope this works. I hope this supplement works. And we can find that root imbalance and those other reasons why your pet's not healing. So I want you to always be thinking of how everything else is also connected and could be affecting healing. So the emotional health, the chemicals, the toxins, the pathogens your pet's coming into contact with, the nutrition, how is that all affecting the microbiome? Now, when we're assessing for gut dysbiosis, remember dysbiosis just simply means that we have an imbalance of good versus bad bacteria. If that continues, it leads to inflammation in the gut lining, which will then allow food, toxins, bacteria to pass through. It'll overstimulate the immune system. This is where we get inflammation. We see all these symptoms that you're probably here for. There's a lot of different tests we can do. And I always say, like, start with your baseline, start with your routine blood work, and then work your way up. There's a lot of different panels here that you can refer back to. Don't worry, you're going to get the recording. IPL is a newer company. It stands for Innovative Pet Lab, and they are able to assess for leaky gut, if there's inflammation, if the digestion, if there's a dysfunction with like the pancreas. So it's a great new test that's come out that you can actually order from the comfort of your home. There's your microbiome testing, which is really helpful. So specifically, like, how do we assess the diversity? Is there dysbiosis? What bacterial levels do we have? That would be animal biome. Your function, how well is digestion working? So your Innovative Pet Labs, your blood work, looking at NutriScan also, or do we have food sensitivities? Looking at your hair tissue mineral analysis tests, looking at hormone health. This is where blood work can help. Your hair tissue mineral analysis test. So blood work, VDI labs is a lab we commonly use. And then inflammation, leaky gut, once again, IPL, NutriScan, hair tissue mineral analysis test. So the nice thing about this and how I want you to approach gut health testing is start with your basic, get a general overview, looking at these different areas that maybe you never knew before, and assessing your pet and going, okay, they're doing this. I've already ruled out this. You know, I don't know if their diversity is good. I don't know if there's a dysbiosis. Let's run an animal biome test and see what's going on in the microbiome. Or, you know, I'm worried about food sensitivities. My pet's really sensitive every time we change the food. This is where a food sensitivity test would be helpful. And then these tests we run all the time. We've done hundreds of these now. It's amazing the results that we see from them and giving us a bigger picture than guessing and just like, you know, taking some spaghetti, throwing it on the wall and hoping it sticks. And what these do is they look at both the disease trends, and they also look at like studying the stress and physiological coping mechanisms of the body, because we can assess thyroid and adrenal function. And so what it does is it uses soft tissue mineral biopsy. Essentially what you're doing is you're clipping or using scissors to cut off some fur. We're sending it into a lab, and we get a reading back on the mineral deposition in the cells and the interstitial spaces of hair that gives us an idea of what's been going on in the body for the past 2 to 3 months. Blood does not give you those results. And also too, what's nice is that there's a lot of vitamins and minerals that are intercellular. And so this gives us a bigger, better idea for some of the constitutions, the concentrations of those types of vitamins and minerals. And so what it does is it allows us to give improved recommendations specific to your pet for vitamin and mineral supplementation, rather than just saying, oh yeah, give, you know, this general vitamin, and all of a sudden we're giving too much copper when that pet was copper toxic. So this gives you more clues onto where to focus. And so this, once again, nutrition matters. It's showing us a stage of stress so we can see different vitamins and minerals that are lost. Malabsorption can affect specific minerals. Drugs, toxins can affect these. We talked about, you know, your acid reducers. So it's a great test that anyone, anywhere in the world can do, because fur doesn't degrade. That's what I love about this test. Once again, Roper. This is where looking at, so this is his first test we did back in September, and we saw his aluminum is 44. It's really high. And then you can see we're at like 6 months later where we're seeing it dropped in half with what we're doing. And we're also seeing his symptoms disappear. So this is why this is really cool, because you can physically see how the body's adjusting and changing with what you're doing rather than just guessing, right? So this is important because you're not guessing anymore. Now you know, and you can monitor progress of what you're doing. So what this means for you is you actually save money by only using supplements that are needed. You may not have to keep them on supplements all their life. That's great to know. You're using the right foods to heal, and you know that you're making a positive step in the right direction to healing those root imbalances. But here's the thing to keep in mind. It can feel really overwhelming, right? And you're like, how do I know? Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. My emotional health isn't very good. That's a lot of people right now, right? And so when you have a partner to help guide you along the path, a holistic life becomes easier every step. And this is what we did with my own family, with my husband at that start of the journey. We took one step each day. You don't have to make all these changes today. One change, one small change can make a huge difference for where your pet is at currently. And it's all about building that foundation, following these steps. So let's go through how my clients and pet parents heal their pets following this Better Gut Health program. So I want to introduce this concept to you that once you're aware of like the impact of the environment, nutrition, and stressors on your pet, then what you can do is you can proceed to taking action to actually fix it. So we have these 4 different areas: the remove, replace, reinoculate, repair. We have a healthy gut. Great, right? However, many make the mistake of starting with detox first. And if the gut's sluggish or not functioning well, those toxins can actually get stuck. There's nutrient deficiencies, detoxification, the immune system, it won't work well. What do you see? You see symptoms get worse. You see them get itchier. And all of a sudden you're like, their allergies are flaring up. But in reality, it's because we have a stuck detox pathway. We have a sluggish gut. We have vitamin nutrient deficiencies. So following the protocol and the steps that I'm going to give you is really, really important to eliminate or reduce the risk of having any of these adverse reactions occur. Slower, yes, but it's important because our pets can't always tell us what's going on, right? So this is the 4R protocol to a healthy gut. You need to remove inflammatory things. So that's going to be testing for removing inflammatory foods and processed diets if you can. Now, I completely understand not everyone can remove kibble for whatever reason. This is where you can use and replace some of the foods I'm going to give you and use them as whole food toppers. So keep that in mind. There are variations to this. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Small changes make a huge difference. You also want to test and treat for chronic infections. If your pet's gut is riddled with parasites, overgrowth of E. coli, it will inhibit the results that you get. So this is why this phase is number 1 and is so important. So testing the gut microbiome, you'll see that on the animal biome tests. You also make sure removing like stress. How are we handling stress in the house? How am I handling stress so my pets don't have to take over my stress for me because I'm not handling it well, right? Who here can relate to that? And then also removing inflammatory chemicals and things. I see you people, I'm with you. I get it. That's why I say it. I laugh and I joke because I've been there and I'm still there every day, right? Is we have to be aware of what's going on, what's in our house, what are cleaning chemicals we're using, all of those things we can assess. Each time you pull something out, take a look at it, turn it around, read the ingredient list. The next step is looking at replacement. So this is where using digestive aids. A lot of our pets, our dogs and our cats are deficient in digestive enzymes. They have low stomach acid, so they're not, or deficient stomach acid. So they're not able to like stimulate the pancreas and produce those digestive enzymes to break down the food into small particles that can be absorbed by the body and used. So this is where we can use herbs, we can use whole food supplements, we can use enzymes, digestive enzymes. Also, a lot of pets are deficient in vitamins and minerals. You can see that on the hair tissue mineral analysis test that we run. And this is where we can provide in whole food form or adding in additional supplements, those things that can help rebalance the vitamins and minerals. And also too, I put replace like stress-free environment. If we live in chaos, we get chaos, right? And so if we can create some order, if we can manage our stress better, we're replacing stress with stress-free. The next step is going to be reinoculation. So pre-probiotics, postbiotics. So we're going to talk about food as medicine, using food therapy. So using the energetics of food. If your pet is running hot, has, you know, your really hot, sticky allergy skin, you know, scratching, it's really red, they don't do well in the heat of the summer. We can balance that with cooling proteins, cooling vegetables. We can use foods that are soothing. So we can implement Chinese food therapy principles to feed the good bacteria, but also support the overall health of the body. And then the final step is repair. So this is where We are going to supplement with certain nutraceuticals to feed the gut lining. We're going to use supportive foods and supplements. This is where we need to repair the environment and also look at detoxifying, looking at our NRF2 pathways, using foods that help there, like green tea, using bacopa, using curcumin, that are supporting those detox pathways and mitochondrial function to help reduce oxidative stress, reactive oxygen species that are going to lead to increased inflammation. We don't want to jump first to detoxification because the body may not be ready, and that's when we see reactions. So food is medicine, right? And this is where, rather than, it can all feel overwhelming, but just sharing some simple tips on how we can use food as medicine with your pets can actually really help feed the microbiome, heal the gut lining, and support detoxification. So buckwheat is a great source of rutin, which is a phytonutrient that actually protects against free radicals. And it's a source of fiber, so it acts as a prebiotic in the digestive tract. Beets are a source of nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide in the body. And this is what also helps. It's a signaling molecule that actually helps the body defend against invading pathogens. It's rich in betaine. This is very important as a methyl donor for helping appropriate gene expression. So if you've ever heard of epigenetics, we can use food to change the way genes are expressed. It also supports detoxification and helps support healthy homocysteine levels. So this is very, very important for reducing inflammation in the body. Chlorophyll is a great antioxidant. It has anti-inflammatory properties. We can integrate sulfur-containing vegetables like your Brussels sprouts, your broccoli, your cabbage. And these are really, really important, once again, in those phase 1, phase 2 detox pathways in the liver. Chicory root is a great prebiotic. Dandelion leaves, once again, are supporting detoxification. They're also supporting the microbiome as a prebiotic. And then we have burdock root, prebiotic detox. What's great about these? You can get them in whole food form. Like those pictures right there, as long as they're not sprayed with glyphosate or herbicides, you can literally pluck them from the ground and add it into as a topper, or for your cats. Rather than using broccoli, you can use like broccoli sprouts and just a little tiny pitch and finely chop it and add it in. There's a lot of ways that we can integrate whole, fresh food into our pets' diets. So I wanted to share some patients of mine whose lives have also changed through using these frameworks. So this is Reggie. I've been treating Reggie with acupuncture and fresh food for a very long time. He has some arthritis. He also has some sensitive gut health issues. So what we did is we transitioned him to a lightly cooked food. We've run additional diagnostics on him following those principles we talked about. We're utilizing CBD, which has helped regulating the endocannabinoid system, which is closely, intimately connected with the gut health and the microbiome and the immune system. We use acupuncture treatments, gut supporting supplements, curcumin for all those reasons I just indicated, and omega-3s. Then we have Tico, who we recently adopted last year. And he came to us, we actually thought he had lymphoma, where he was very, very sick. We actually did liver biopsies and the lab was concerned he had lymphoma, and further testing came back that he didn't. What I think he had is vaccinosis. And so we needed to help regulate his immune system. We used homeopathy. We used gut support supplements. He's on a raw diet. This is him eating some frog legs as a snack out in the grass, grounding in the grass, right? And using that emotional health support to get him through that. And today, a year later, you would never know anything happened. He's super healthy, knock on wood. He's doing great. And then this is my little Moki. And Moki has cerebellar hypoplasia. He came to us as a kitten with severe GI health issues on a processed prescription diet and said, you're not going to be able to take him off of this. He is now on a raw food diet that he loves. He gets additional supplementations that we rotate through following the principles that we just talked about. And he is a happy little, cute, adorable little dude that gives us lots of entertainment and love. So keep in mind, there are so many ways to support the body. We can use herb gardens, especially with cats. Cats can be tricky, but This is Moki rolling around in an herb garden, self-selecting rosebuds. We can use environmental enrichment using toys and play and stimulating prey drive. We can offer herbs, plants through self-selection. So we can get creative on how we can optimize gut health, keeping in mind the gut health is a bigger part of this ecosystem that's all interconnected. And once we achieve this optimal gut health, it's going to help rebalance so many of these other areas that might be off in your pets. So where do you start? This is the 5 pillars of optimal pet health that I talk a lot about. So you can see gut health and nutrition fits right in. They're all interconnected. Nutrition's important, removing, replacing, repairing, re-inoculating, testing to figure out where those gaps are, assessing your environment, that ecosystem, making sure that we're assessing the emotional health of ourselves, our pets, our environment, and that the physical health needs are being met. And here's something to keep in mind. I started with holistic medicine because my husband was sick. I went down that rabbit hole. Hours and hours, years of research and additional certifications, degrees. And you may already have had a pet with like cancer or another disease, and you vowed to yourself to do everything possible to not go down that path again. Or maybe you want to do everything possible to keep your fur family healthy. Those small steps and support from people who've been there before are so much more important than the naysayers, the people who don't believe in your journey towards holistic medicine for your pets. Your time is now. Don't wait. You need solutions now. You need to make a change now. And this isn't just theory. Like, I've only been sharing the system with one-on-one clients, like for Leo, Reggie, Tico, Roper, Moki, Finn, so many other pets. And I've tested this system, and it has proven its results with my own pets and clients and even my human family. And at this point, I know I can make a greater impact by sharing it with more people, which is why I'm here today. So this method is time tested. It's proven. Yes, holistic medicine can actually achieve optimal pet health and heal those gut health issues. And I'm using some of these strategies for this webinar you're on right now, plus many others to help pets feel their best. So if you're thinking like, I'm ready, where do I start? All you have to do is commit, focus, and take action. You've already done some of that by taking time to be here in this masterclass today. So I just gave you a brief glimpse at the Better Gut Health program, but as I'm sure you can imagine, you may be feeling like this is just the very tip of the iceberg. And when it comes to achieving optimal gut health and finding the root cause and healing it, right? So you can either kind of stay where you're at and figure it out yourself and continue staying in that rabbit hole, spending hours and hours trying to do it. Maybe using hope strategy, right? I hope this supplement works. I hope this food works. Maybe the next thing will work. Or you can get the proven success path with support and guidance. It's not hope strategy. It's knowing what's going on with your personal pet and making those adjustments and fixing things so that you can actually get the results that you're looking for. Why? I mean, the biggest issues I see with the online pet health space is there's so much information out there, each of them trying to teach an aspect of this intricate puzzle of holistic pet care. There's a Facebook group on why you shouldn't use conventional meds. It's not helpful if you don't know how to safely and effectively use holistic medicine. And I'm not talking about using holistic medicine as replacement therapy for symptoms, right? So we're just using hope strategy. I hope this supplement works and maybe it'll fix a symptom, but did we heal the root cause? A supplement for gut health, that's great, but if the root imbalance is missed, inflammation continues. You may not see it right away, but it can come out 3, 6 months, a year later, and it can be much worse. Your veterinarian telling you raw food is toxic. It's super confusing, right? If you don't have the tools and the studies to share with them to have an open conversation. And so I wanted you to have the best possible launch pad for a healthy, long life for your entire fur family, because I've been through it personally. And I'm also coming at this with years of experience, experimenting, finding the things that work long-term versus trends versus hope strategy with my patients and clients. So these are just a few of my amazing pet parents that have been through a lot of these protocols that we went through. So Barbara with Kai, So Dr. Katie Woodley, you're amazing. Just had an appointment with Dr. Kangas, and she said the supplements you recommended based on Kai's hair tissue results and medical history are spot on. Kai's come a long way in the past few months. His diet's well balanced and the adjustments needed are minor. He's doing so much better. We also, amazing Madison with all her kitty cats. Dr. Katie's always there to answer your questions. The community is also there to help you out. I've been trying to help 3 of my cats' guts and get them strong enough to be able to transition foods. I was overwhelmed and thinking I would never be able to help them. Now my babies are on the right track. And Bethany with Spartacus, the biggest positive impact that I notice right now is my new confidence and knowing that what I'm giving him is right for him. I do not feel like I'm guessing. So my dream pet parent to work with, they want to do everything possible to achieve optimal health and gut health. They love learning. They're not afraid to ask questions. They're kind to others. They love being a part of a community. Their fur family's health is as important as their own. They want all those options and they love getting results, and they're not afraid to try things that are a little uncomfortable. Remember, going back to that belief system, the open mind, this feels a little uncomfortable. That's okay. We're going to get there, knowing that it can sometimes take a little bit of time. So I want to ask you, are you next? And the better the fit, the better the results. That's why I want those right pet parents who are ready to believe, take the action, and want those results. So who here wants in? So this is how this process works. I see you guys. Who's this for? So this is for pet parents, pet store owners, trainers, people who want to learn more about holistic medicine and gut health, pet parents who want lifelong health for their fur family and not just quick fixes. Now, you understand that investing in your own growth and education, taking action, actually having skin in the game is the only way to grow and not stay stuck on that treadmill with the hope strategy. And people who are action takers and are actually going to implement that information. So if this sounds like you, I'm inviting you to set up an interview to see if our Better Pet Gut Health program is the right fit for you. So I've actually set aside time in the next 14 days to talk to you, see if we can help. You're probably actually getting an email in your inbox as we speak with the link to schedule a call with me. The call is approximately 45 minutes, and the intention is to understand where you're at with your pet's health, identify how and if we're actually a fit to help you get those results that you need inside of our 6-week Better Pet Gut Health program. This is a paid program, and it includes personal guidance from me, a hair tissue mineral analysis test, and education so you know how to fix your pet's gut health and achieve optimal health. So we're only taking 20 pet parents for this 6-week intensive program so that we can get you the results that you're looking for. But I know there's some of you who have questions, right? So what about, right? Maybe you've already tried a ton of different supplements, herbs, and diets. The reason this is different is because it's personalized. And you can ask the questions through the weekly Q&As to get the guidance for what your pet truly needs, rather than relying on hope strategy and spending a lot of money and creating a supplement graveyard, right? In your cabinets, your pantry, with all those supplements that you tried that didn't seem to work. That's why this is different. So also, this is different because we're integrating a personal touch. You get a personal consult, you get a personal hair tissue mineral analysis test to truly understand what's going on internally for your pets, getting guidance, support from a positive, strong community, and getting the education so that way you know why and how you're implementing different things and getting additional recipes and how to use food therapy to actually heal and optimize gut health and overall immune health and overall body health too. And you may be asking, like, how do I know this is going to work for my pets? That's where the power of having a personalized, integrated educational program with weekly Q&As throughout the 6 weeks is where you can ask those questions and get guidance rather than spending hours in the rabbit hole trying to figure it out on your own. Too many pet parents are stuck. Like they can't see the forest for the trees. So I'm going to ask you, are the trees blocking your view from seeing that entire forest? Going back to staying stuck on that treadmill and not being able to see the bigger picture and only focusing on symptoms. rather than trying to find the root cause. And this is where the Better Gut Health program is your ticket off the treadmill into actually fixing the root imbalance. So teaching you how to look at that big overarching ecosystem where we started at, the earth, right? And dialing in your individual ecosystem in your house, in your environment, with the food, with your pets, with your family dynamics. And so this is just a general overview of what you would be getting with our 6-week Better Gut Health program. Lifetime access to all the content. You're going to have educational videos that you can go through that break it down so that you know and you learn how to make those changes specific to your pets. There's 6 weekly Q&As with myself, so you can ask questions as you start taking action and implementing and going through the content. We have a private small community. There's only 20 pet parents in the group. So that way you can get further support and help and be a part of other amazing like-minded pet parents who are also dealing with many similar pet health concerns. You also get 2 30-minute consultations with myself so we can analyze the hair tissue mineral analysis report, start getting some feedback and movement, and then diving into the program and then having a follow-up call with me. So that way you get a long-term plan for how to continue to implement and get results. You also get a hair tissue mineral analysis test, and then there's potential access to content upgrades and things like that. So if you're ready for a change, you're ready to make a difference in your pets' lives and find out where are things going wrong, or, am I doing the right things? I need help and support. This is where you can schedule a call. Once again, there is an email that should have gone out or will be going out shortly where you can click on that and schedule it on our list. There are a lot of people on this masterclass, and we're only taking 20 pet parents for our October start date. So make sure you schedule now if this is something where you're ready to be part of our paid intensive program. And keep in mind, your pet's health is an investment. It's not an expense. When we fix and heal those root imbalances, this is where you reduce your vet visits. You reduce your vet bills. You reduce your stress worrying that there's something wrong with your pet. So all of it's an investment. And here's what I know to be true. I would not be where I am today without investing and working with the people who were where I wanted to be. So once again, go back to those feelings you wrote down at the very beginning. Looking at your pet feeling their best. Where do you want to be in 1 year with your fur family's health? So definitely schedule a call if you're interested. Otherwise, we are going to go through some questions. So pop those in the Q&A box. I am going to end this and share my screen. Okay, perfect. Can everyone see me okay? Just pop a yes, and I'm going to open up our Q&As and go through these. All right. Okay, did everyone find that helpful? Did you learn something kind of a little bit new, a new perspective, maybe a belief shift on, wow, I've heard that before, but just looking at things from a different perspective? Did anyone kind of gain new insights into how to look at your pet's care, how to look at their health, how to look at your ecosystem? If you learn something new, just drop yes or whatever like excites you in that. I love it. Amazing. You guys are amazing. I love it. I love doing these and just seeing you all show up. I appreciate your time. Okay, let me go scroll back. I know there were some questions. Okay. So, okay, let's see. So I'm not sure why the chat wasn't working. So I just have to scroll through all of your amazing comments that you were giving during the presentation. I will start at the beginning. Okay. Okay, Terry, this is a great question. I'm currently giving a combination supplement that includes both digestive enzymes and probiotics. Is this safe long-term, or does the body need occasional rest? This is a great question and something that we'll be covering, because there are some newer studies that came out with probiotics that actually indicate that probiotics may not always be the best idea. Now, there's different types of probiotics that we'll go through in our program based on like what's going on, what conditions, when to give these. But I always recommend, so for most supplements, when we're looking at, for one, why are we using it? So we always have to ask that question. Once again, looking at the bigger picture, why are we using this? Or are we just using it because someone said it was good to use? And then two, looking at, especially for probiotics, are we giving the same strain over and over and over again? Because if we are, we can potentially cause an imbalance. And we don't want to do that. So giving the body a rest, rotating different strains, different brands. Now, keep in mind, a lot of brands on the market, probiotics are really, I actually had this conversation with a client who owns one of the biggest pet supplement companies in the US. And we were talking about probiotics today during his dog's acupuncture consult. And most probiotics are dead once they're like made. So think about like the heat we've had here, 115 degrees. And when that probiotic is sitting in that heat, it's kind of like the environment of the gut. We get the heat, we get the warmth, we get the humidity. It goes, I'm in the gut, and it activates and then it dies because there's nothing to feed it. So unfortunately, a lot of the brands out there are going to be dead. Now, this is where we can use like whole fresh foods. I love using whole foods because especially too, like if you're wondering, like I'm not in the US, are you only going to recommend supplements if I'm a part of this program that are specifically for the United States that I can't access? We work with a lot of pet parents across the globe. So this is also where using whole foods and making those recommendations, most people can access whole food. And also too, if we're looking at probiotics, kefir, your like raw milk, your raw goat's milk, your sauerkraut, using these functional foods can actually provide a good, or fermented foods too. Billy Hoekman, I was with him this weekend at our holistic vet conference, talking about like fermented foods. Those are great alternatives for using probiotics, and those are going to be alive. And a lot of times you can make these fermented foods too. So Terry, I would be looking at rotation, different types of probiotic strains, so you're not potentially causing a dysbiosis or imbalance, but also looking at some of those functional whole foods that are also going to provide natural forms of digestive enzymes and bacteria. So hope that helps. All right, let's see. Sorry, I have to flick through. I love all your comments. Oh my gosh, Piglet. I love that, Orlog. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I apologize if I'm not. Feel guilty that I'm trying my best and no one is hearing me. I hear you. So I truly mean that. And here's the thing, it's just by being here and learning and showing up is more than a lot of people do in their lifetime. So I appreciate once again that so many people are here learning. Okay. So Nikki, we went through some supplements that can help heal leaky gut. Hyperesthesia. My indoor cat has feline hyperesthesia syndrome. I believe it's caused from leaky gut based off her symptoms and reactions. She has a lot of food supplement sensitivities. How can I heal her gut with so many sensitivities? So this is where we're with hyperesthesia. This is where they have that tingliness, the itchy, like not itchy, but twitchiness on their back when you touch them. It can be painful. They can react. Sometimes they like bite because it's painful. This is where I would be wondering what's going on with vitamin mineral imbalances. So a hair tissue test can be really helpful. Do we have a deficiency in calcium and magnesium, which is also going to help with like twitchiness, the nerve activation, communication between nerves, nerve function, which can help calm that down. And then also too, do we have heavy metals? Every pet on this planet, including humans, has some level of heavy metals in their body. We live in a toxic world. Mercury and aluminum tend to be the highest, but what level? So that's what I'm looking at when I'm reading these hair tissue mineral analysis tests. So there's a lot we can do, but I'd be starting with some of those personalized testing alongside possibly like a microbiome test. Your hair tissue test is included in the program, Nikki, if you decided to schedule a call and see if it's a good fit for you. So that's where I'd be starting with a cat with hyperesthesia. So how do I not only clear glyphosate? So Pauline, so how do I not only clear glyphosate, but also keep it out of my fur baby system as well as my own, since it's present in so much, it's present everywhere. It's 90% of rainwater. Toxic Legacy by Stephanie Seneff is a really great book to read. It's depressing, I'm not going to lie, but it also shows you why we need to clean up our environment. But there's a lot we can do. Optimizing gut health, making sure our vitamin mineral status is good, and then supporting those detox pathways. Now, glyphosate, using things like humic and fulvic acid, that'll be something that we talk about because it is inhibiting and affecting gut health directly, because we talked about the shikimate pathway. In terms of using binders, that's where we can use binders to help remove. So humic fulvic acid, a lot of people use activated charcoal, but activated charcoal will bind to a lot of vitamins and minerals too. So it's not a good long-term one that I use all the time. So Orlog, this is a great question. I'm worried I cannot access certain foods in Ireland. Fur tests may not be possible to send. We get fur samples from everyone all over. We get them from like Singapore. I believe we've gotten fur samples from Ireland too. The nice thing is it's not like blood. So they just come in like an envelope, like you're sending a letter. So you shouldn't have an issue sending any, just like a hair sample to us. So that shouldn't be a problem. Paola, yes, I'm so glad you're already in. I know we have a couple members that are going to be a part of this gut health intensive here. So love that you're a part of it, Paola. Let's see. So Melissa, what lab runs hair tissue mineral analysis? I recently started implementing in my nutritional therapy practice. It's quite interesting. So you'll need to work with someone to analyze it. So there's a lot of, like, we send them to it's a human lab. So we get the report, but they don't analyze the human side. Or sorry, they don't analyze the pet side. They only analyze the human side where you get like a detailed report. So this is where like the training's important for being able to analyze those results. So you know what to do with them, because it can be a little bit different from the human side. And so the other key to with like, if you are using someone that is doing hair tissue mineral analysis test, to ask like what labs are they using, because some labs will actually wash the hair beforehand, and that can affect the potassium levels. So the labs that we use do not do that. So we have a true indicator of the vitamins and minerals that are present in that hair sample. So that's really important to know. Alongside like us, Dr. Peter DeBias also does some hair tissue mineral analysis testing and gives you a report. Dr. Ava Frick is another one. So there's quite a few different, I think it's Check Pup. I always mix those up. So you can always check out those two companies. If you want to go through them, keep in mind you get a hair tissue test and report and consultation to go through those and your specific pet stuff too with the program. Okay, let's see. So someone asked, have you ever used actual colony testing Microbiome for animals to check on microbiome health? Why or why not? So there's only a few select animal microbiome testing. So this is where I'm most familiar with animal biome. It doesn't mean that there's not other microbiome testing out there. Ubiome, we actually did for my husband, because we've done a lot of gut health testing because he has an autoimmune gut disease. And the reports it was interesting. I have the pros and cons to that test. So I think some people probably find it more helpful. I found the report not as helpful as I would have liked, but my question would be, if they're doing human testing, it's going to be different than dogs and cats. So I want to use a company that is doing animal testing. I don't know who that is. It's anonymous, but that would be kind of my response for that. Let's see. So this is a great question from Katie. Let's see. I'd like to keep my boy Grayson with me as long as I can, maybe up to age 20. I love that. So my cat is 12. He's in good health, but I've never had a cat that lived past age 16. Is this program good for me, or is it more for those pets who have significant issues right now? So this program, what's nice about this program is that it will teach you how to like help resolve imbalances, but you are also going to receive like the core foundation of optimal health. So if your pets are currently in optimal health, this will still help. The other piece to this is what's really interesting, because we've done these for a lot of pet parents who sent in fur samples to do a hair tissue mineral analysis test. The pets were completely healthy. There were no symptoms. And it came back with like really high heavy metals. There were a lot of vitamin mineral imbalances. And then as we started like working together, like and repairing some of that, they're like, oh, their energy's improved, their coat quality has improved. So there can be little things that are missed because they're not displaying big symptoms, but we're all on a spectrum. I always say this, like there's optimal health over here, right? Nothing. We're handling inflammation as it arises. It doesn't turn into chronic inflammation. And down here we have like death. We're all going to die at some point. I mean, unfortunately, that's just a fact of life. None of us win that race. And so we're going to be constantly moving along the spectrum. So if we miss something that's causing inflammation, like high aluminum, high mercury, if we're missing a dysbiosis, which doesn't always show up with symptoms, that's the thing. There can be things going on every day, like our bodies are producing like cancer cells, and with a healthy immune system, it can find them and kill it and remove it, and the body clears it. So when the body's functioning optimally, that's what we want. So this program is going to teach you how to create optimal health. And then you also get some personalized guidance too. So you can take a look, like, for example, Katie with Grayson, what is Grayson doing? Does he have heavy metal issues? Are his calcium, magnesium okay? If not, what do I need to do now to rebalance that? Or great, what I'm doing is great. What are other things that I can optimize? And then also too, how can I put in more variety or utilize certain tools and tactics and foods and functional foods to help, make him even stronger and healthier so that he does get to age 20. Tony, great question. Can you explain proton pump inhibitors, vagus nerve a little more? So we will be covering vagus nerve and that gut-brain axis deeply, that's a word, deeply, in the gut health, or in the Better Gut Health program. So that'll definitely be covered there. And then the proton pump inhibitors are going to be things like your famotidine and those types of medications, and they're affecting the way that the stomach acid is produced. So what can happen too long term, so they're affecting vitamin and minerals because it's affecting the digestion, it's affecting the activation of digestive enzymes that are needed to break down the food. And also too, it's a chemical, it's a drug. And what happens long term is if we have pets that are on these things like famotidine, long term, Pepcid, long term, is that the body stops making its own acid. So you take them off of it, and we actually have this rebound reflux issue where the symptoms get much, much worse. And then you go, oh, they need to be on it. And then you go back on it. So when pets come to me with having been on that drug for a long time, I've had pets come with for years. For one, there's an increased risk of cancer on the human side with long-term usage of these drugs. They're not meant to be used long-term. Unfortunately, they are. And two, like, we also have to wean them off of it. Otherwise, we can get that acid reflux issue return, really, that resurgence. So we'll talk about in the program how to wean them off. And this is where that personal consult can help too. Let's see. So Lauren, this is okay, I'm sorry you're going through all this. My dog Buddy has had digestive issues since he was a puppy. He's 11 years old. I have a holistic vet. We've used fecal transplants from Dr. Margot Roman that didn't help him. We've done animal biome. His biggest issue is inappetence. I've also talked to Dr. Steve Marsden. Our holistic vet built a diet for him that I cooked, but that made him really sick. I've been so frustrated lately. I'm going to try another animal biome supplement for him. So this is where I'm sorry you're going through that. It's so frustrating, and it's depressing too to watch Buddy not feel good. This is where, though, a lot of times, like, yes, like this is all part of like microbiome. My question would be, is there a heavy metal? Is there some emotional aspect? Is there something else going on in the environment? Do we have a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, that's not being picked up? And there's further testing that you can do that will most likely give you a better indicator of where those imbalances are with Buddy. Not always easy, right, as you're going through that. But those are different aspects and avenues that we talk about in the program. Orla. All right, thank you for clarifying. I'm so sorry I mispronounced your name, Orla. That's beautiful. Okay. Okay. So it's a great question. Do you think 5 strands is a good test to find out about food sensitivity? There's different types of testing out there. there's a lot more too. Those were just some brief examples that we went through during the presentation. There's energetic testing that can work really well for a lot of people. And then there's also looking at the antibodies. So NutriScan I like because I can see the different antibodies that are being produced and can give us an idea of how severe is the food sensitivity. I find I get better results with those, but I've also had patients that have done, the 5 strands, that there's another one I'm blanking on the name right now. It's a very popular energetic test that looks at sensitivities and food sensitivities and environmental sensitivities. The name will probably come to me in a second. But, do what works best for you. I just use a lot of NutriScan and get pretty good results with it. Now, keep in mind with anything, there can be pros and cons to it. So we're always treating the pet in front of us. So that's very, very important. Okay. Phoenix, great question. Do you think companies like Hills and Royal Canin will follow the consumer trend of shifting towards fresh pet food? They're already buying companies that are doing fresh pet food. So keep an eye on that. We hold them accountable, make sure it's good quality, that they're not doing silly things, making the quality go down, using cheap substitutes. It tends to happen with a lot of pet food companies. So that's just definitely something that's very, very important. Paola, one very interesting thing in your session today, I did not realize about the golf course. I live on a golf course. My cats are indoors, but wondering how much of an influence this could have on my cat's diarrhea. A lot. So this is where I imagine, just knowing you briefly, taking shoes off, making sure the floors are clean. And then looking at using binders and supporting detox pathways, those types of things. So it'll be interesting to see if there's heavy metals. Heavy metals can also bind to glyphosate and be carried into across the blood-brain barrier. But golf courses are full of chemicals, and it can definitely even impact indoor cats. Our cats were indoor only, and years ago, they both developed aggressive GI lymphoma. Another huge lesson. There weren't enough hours in the day to go through all the lessons I've learned in my years, but yeah, it can definitely play a part even for indoor only cats. Okay, let's see. Is there a time limit to how long it will take to get the envelope to send from the lab to here? So this is a great question. So when we do hair tissue mineral analysis tests, you do not actually receive anything from us physically. So what we send is directions on how to collect the sample and then where to send it. So when it comes to us, we make sure there's enough hair, we send it off to the lab. So it's super easy. Or we try to make it as easy as possible, especially for overseas people. And it just depends on getting the hair sample and sending it off. I love it. Tried getting his chakras cleansed. He's responding to the crystals that were suggested. Perfect. Okay, Terry, great question. Trying to stay away from soy due to glyphosate. If a supplement contains soy, but it's said that it's non-GMO and organic, is that considered a safe ingredient? So this is something we're going to be covering in the program because this is a very important topic where non-GMO doesn't necessarily mean much in terms of if you're it doesn't guarantee organic. So this is a great point, Terry, looking for non-GMO and organic. Unfortunately, we're all being exposed to glyphosate even when we're eating organic because of the drift. So when you think about like the spray, I think the spray can actually drift. I think it was like 7 miles. It's huge, right? So we're all being exposed. This is why supporting detox pathways, our microbiome, and using those binders that I mentioned previously are very, very important. Soy isn't necessarily a bad ingredient. There's pros and cons, just like anything, right? You hear about this food being really toxic and bad, but if it's non-GMO and organic, it will be much better to use than say if it was not organic, then I would definitely stay away from it because your wheat, your oats, your soy, your legumes are the highest concentration of glyphosate. out of all the foods, which is why, not surprisingly, when I showed you that graph from HRI labs, those animals being fed processed food diets, so kibble diets, they were highest in glyphosate. That's why, because those foods comprise, those like kibble diets, those processed food diets comprise a lot of those ingredients, which are heavily sprayed by glyphosate. So perfect. Awesome, Deanna. I look forward to talking with you. I'm so excited. All right, so we're going to conclude there. I appreciate everyone joining live, participating, wanting to learn more, wanting to do the best, taking action, implementing. Remember that belief system is huge. We do need to believe what we're doing for it to actually work. And I hope some of you have scheduled calls. I'll love to connect with you to see if that Better Gut Health 6-week intensive program is a fit for you and your fur family, and see if we can get you even better results or get you the results that you're looking for, or optimize health and just make sure that they're truly healthy and you have the tools and the tactics to keep them that way, to help keep your vet visits low, keep your vet bills even lower, and help you feel empowered and supported while helping your pets live their best lives. So thanks again, everyone. Check your emails. There will be the replay going out a little bit later, so that way you can rewatch this at any time. Once again, I'm Dr. Katie Woodley, the Natural Pet Doctor, and I will see you all soon. Take care.